this is MrThaiBox123 and this is going to be my second Q&A session. So I've got some questions here in front of me that I'm going to work through and hopefully try and answer them the best that I can. So the first one is from VinnyJ904 and he asks, I would like to know exactly the specs of all the tech you have behind me, which is obviously this. So basically what I've got here is I've got a Mac Pro quad core 2.8 GHz with 32 gig of RAM and 4 2TB hard drives. It's got the dual ATI 5770 graphics cards, and then I've got 3 27-inch Apple Cinema displays down the bottom and then 3 24-inch Dell displays at the top. I have done a desk tour recently, so I think there's a little bit more information in there about how it's all set up and what the exact specs are, but in a nutshell that's the basics of it. I've got another question here from Adam Media, and he asks, he wants to know the answer to VinnyJ904's question as well, so I've just answered that. So I've got another question here from Connor John McGuire, and he asks, would you ever make a blog channel like Shay Carl? If I thought I had enough to say, then I probably would. It's all very well talking about a product or a specific piece of technology. I find that reasonably easy, but to actually just blog, I think I'd probably find that quite difficult, so I'm not too sure about that. If I ever thought I had enough to say that was worthwhile listening to, then I may well consider it, but at the moment, probably not. So on to the next question. XX Hardcore XX Gamer XX, he just says, so many monitors, question mark, question mark. And this is probably the most common question that I get, is basically, why do I need 6 monitors? Now, the way that this really came about was I had the 3 Dell screens at the top previously on my old system, and I wanted to go for the Apple Cinema displays. So I don't really need 6 monitors. It's kind of like saying, do I need a car? Well, no, I don't need a car. I could take public transport everywhere, but it just kind of makes life easier. And then when I got these 3 Apple Cinema displays at the bottom, I just thought, well, I've got 2 graphics cards in the machine, I may as well keep the old 3 monitors and just hook all those up as well. And then this way I can do a whole different range of things on different screens, whereas normally you'd probably have to like tab between or flick between, and this way I can just pretty much have every single thing open that I want to all at the same time, including like watching Sky, going on the internet, Twitter, Facebook, all those different kinds of things. So it's not necessarily that I need them, it's more just the fact that it kind of happened this way. 3 monitors I definitely do need to be able to do what I need to do in as quick a fashion as possible, but the 6 is obviously quite excessive, and I don't think probably many people would need 6 monitors, but I figured, well, I've got the 3 old ones, they're not worth any money, I may as well just hook them up and use them. And it definitely does make my life easier having all of this real estate in terms of screen to be able to multitask between different jobs that I'm doing at any one time. So I hope that answers that question. And he actually poses another question. Would you recommend I switch to a Mac? I've been using Windows-based PCs since the 90s when Windows 95 came out, so I know the ins and outs of Windows. However, the OS X platform looks impressive. Would you recommend a change? To be honest, the very first reason that I started using Mac was not for any other reason than a change. I like the hardware especially, but the operating system never really posed that much of an interest to me. However, because I work on Windows and Unix based machines all day, and I have done throughout my career, I just thought it would be really nice to have a change. And then doing the YouTube stuff and various other bits of media, it just turned out that this was an easier platform for me to do it on and more convenient. I don't actually prefer Mac over Windows, and I don't prefer Windows over Mac. There's a whole bunch of things inside both that I prefer over one another, but if it came down to having to use one for the rest of my life and not ever being able to use the other one, I would probably choose Windows. So, you know, if you like Windows and you're used to it and you know everything about it, if you haven't got a specific need to change to OS X, then it's probably not worth your while doing so, unless you've got a very specific reason, like it does certain things better, like, you know, the media and certain things like that. So, you know, my way of looking at it was that I just wanted to use something different in my personal time as to my business life, and that's really the reason I first switched over to OS 10. So if you're just looking for a change and you want something different and it's nice to learn something new, if you know Windows that well and you've been using it that long, you're really not going to have any problem whatsoever in switching over to OS 10. So I hope that that answers the question for you, but that's kind of a difficult one to answer without really knowing if you've got a specific reason for looking at a change. If it's just the fact that you want to change, definitely go ahead, because it's kind of nice to mix it up a little bit, have different operating systems for different things that you want to do. I dual boot into this. I don't use Windows very much anymore other than for the odd game, but you know, it is nice to have something different, and for me especially, where I use Windows and Unix all day long at work, I like to come home and use something that's completely different just to have a change. Guitar Soccer 1992 says, cool video, I like these kind of videos where you interact with the viewers. Thanks very much. These are my kind of favourite videos as well. I wish I got a lot more questions than I do. But yeah, thanks very much for that feedback. Here I've got one from J Davina 15, and she says, why are you all dressed up? Well, I'm not really dressed up at the moment, but I think she's referring to the Q&A session I did before, where I had like a suit jacket on and all that kind of stuff, which I don't particularly like wearing, to be honest. But the answer to that is that I'd literally just got home from work. I really wanted to get the Q&A session onto video and get it out to you guys, and I just didn't get a chance to get changed in between that. Simple as that. It's really not something that I would wear in my own private time. So next question from Sam Louis 54321. Would you ever go to Android? Well, at the moment I've got two iPhones. I've got an iPhone 3GS which I use for all my business, and then I've got iPhone 4 which I use for all my personal. And for a while now I've been thinking I want to get rid of my old 3GS and swap it for an Android phone so I can, you know, have one of each. So I definitely would have an Android phone, but it would have to be alongside having the iPhone as my personal phone, because I just love the device. But yeah, I definitely do want to get an Android phone as my next device in terms of my business handset. So any feedback from you guys about what would be the best one to get, I'd really like to know, because I'm not overly familiar with all of the Android based handsets that are out there at the moment. I have looked a little bit around, and I was kind of waiting for the new Samsung phone to come out. That looks like quite a nice one, or the Motorola Atrix, but maybe you guys can give me some feedback there about what would be a good option for me to get. I've got a question here from Dave at Geekanoid. Thanks Dave for giving me this question. Do you like cases on your devices like the iPhone and the iPad, or do you prefer to use them naked? If you've watched any of my case videos, you'll probably see that I do definitely prefer to have them completely naked. One of the things that I really like about the iPad 2 is this smart cover. When I first saw it I thought, oh god, what a rubbish idea, but now the fact it's so thin and it doesn't have to have a back to it, and I can still feel the device, and I really like the way these devices feel. I like this smart cover, and I really like this iPad 2 because it enables me to keep it naked, so to speak, as Dave said, and leave it lying around without actually worrying about it getting damaged. And in fact, if you watched my Zag video where I put the back on this, with the front smart cover as well, it's now completely protected, and I don't really have to have any kind of case on it at all to just leave it lying around the house, unless I'm travelling, and then I would put it in some kind of case to properly protect it from bumps and more severe drops. But yeah, I definitely like to have the device naked. My iPhone 4, all I have is a front and back kind of screen cover and back cover, a little stick-on thing that goes on, just so I don't have to have a case on it, and that kind of protects it as much as I need to from scratches on both sides. I think that these devices were kind of designed to feel nice in the hand, to be a certain size, a certain weight, have a certain balance to them, and especially Apple devices are designed so well that I think it's a shame to cover them in a case. I understand why people do it, and they like to keep them nice, but I kind of go for an in-between approach where I kind of protect it as much as possible, but still get the nice feel and weight in my hand and in my pocket, etc. So thanks for that question, Dave. So last question from Danavriel, who has got his own channel, and you should check that out. I'll put the link to that in the description. And he says, where do you see your channel going in the next 12 months? What can we expect from you? That's a good question. where is this channel going? I mean, hopefully I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing at the moment. Hopefully some of you like it, and I'm just going to continue down that path. I'm going to try and get as many products into review as I can. Hopefully as the channel gets a little bit bigger, I can start getting some better devices, some more expensive devices, handsets, tablets, that kind of thing. But yeah, at the moment, quite happy with getting the little bits of gadgets that I can get, cases and chargers and all these different things that I've reviewed, and I'm going to continue down that route. As and when new Apple products come out, I'm going to be bringing you rumours and roundup videos like I have done before, and they're probably going to start picking up quite soon as the iPhone 5 launch is due. But yeah, I'm just hopefully going to carry on where I am, hopefully get a lot more subscribers, a lot more watchers, and that will enable me to bring much more of a variety of products to you guys to be able to review for you. But that's a good point actually. If any of you would like me to go in a certain direction with my channel, or you'd like me to do more of certain things or less of certain things, or even change the way that I do things, then I'd love for you guys to leave a comment below and let me know exactly what those thoughts and opinions are. If they're bad, they're bad. If they're good, they're good. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, any kind of feedback is most definitely appreciated. So in order for me to do another Q&A session, if you guys could leave any questions you've got for me below, whether they be personal, whether they be about the tech or anything whatsoever, then please do so. I really enjoy doing these Q&A videos. I hope you like them too, and the more questions I get, the more I can do with them. So thanks very much for watching, guys. It's a real sunny day today. I hope you're enjoying yours, and I'll see you in the next video.